Hey folks, Doc White. This is our microscope class, and we're going to do this little session in 5 different videos. We got 4 sections to cover, so we're going to do just some basic microscope work, and you can follow along in your handout, and we're going to tackle these topics one by one. So first, let's just start with the basics. How you carry the microscope properly. A microscope is fairly heavy. They're expensive, so you need to take care of them. So I've got some microscopes right here. And if I lift the cover up, this is the arm. We'll look at it again later, but you want to put one hand on the arm, the other hand underneath it, which is the base. So one on the arm, one on the base, and carry it securely. You don't want to tilt it because stuff can fall out. All right, so I'm going to put it over here on the desk. Then take the cover off. Typically, if you have a cover, you want to keep it covered because dust will play havoc on a microscope. They need to stay very clean. We'll talk about cleaning here in just a minute. And you want to have your electrical cord wrapped up around it securely so it's not dragging for obvious reasons. So let's unwrap the cord. And then we want to plug it in. All right. I'm going to come around here. I'm going to sit down. One thing you want to do is just be very comfortable in front of your microscope. You don't want to be at different angles because usually on a microscope you're going to be looking at it for several minutes, and if you're at an angle you're going to get tired and cramped. It's just not a good thing. So you want to be nice and comfortable. Sometimes you might even have the microscope on a higher counter and you'll be standing, which is perfectly fine. So I'm going to go down the list. So I told you how to carry it on the arm and the base. Getting started, we already plugged in the electrical cord, on and off. So some microscopes, the on and off and this brightness control is one and the same, but in this microscope, they're 2 different levers or buttons. So we're going to come around here. So here's the off and on switch, and I'm going to turn it on, but you're probably not going to see the light come on, and I'll tell you why, but this is the off and on switch. And then where you see this, looks like an arrow, there is a roller switch here. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's a roller switch. It rolls. And this pointing at the point, this is brightness control, and this is going to control the brightness level of the light, and that's very important. We'll talk more about that as you are able to see or trying to see what your object is. But what you want to make sure before you turn this on is this roller for the brightness is all the way, in this case, towards you, which is the lowest level. And so it's actually not, if I turn it on, it's not going to come on at all. So the brightness control is at its lowest level, and that's what you want to have. So make sure that's all the way towards you. If I push this on, you see the light's not on yet. And if I roll it up, you can see the light has come on, and I can control that, and we'll talk more about that. But you can go ahead and turn it on sort of midway so we have the light going. But off on switch, and then the brightness. And I'll tell you why they're why they are 2 different controls. And why we want this brightness control all the way down before we turn it on and all the way down when we turn it off. Because if it is all the way up, all the power is coming through to our light bulb. And if this was all the way on bright, and it was off and we turned it on and this power has a sudden surge to our light bulb, it can blow the bulb, but it will definitely decrease the lifetime of the bulb. So we're protecting the light bulb to have it turned down all the way. Let's say I'm going to turn it off. So I'll turn it off, and then before I turn it on, make sure it's down all the way. Turn it on, and then we'll roll it up, so to speak, and now it's on. Okay? So 2 separate levers. Next position, starting positions. All right, so anytime you're starting to use the microscope, this is the stage. We'll look at it later. The stage needs to be all the way down. You can see it's controlled this way. Again, we'll look at these levers here in a minute. But before you start using your microscope, before you put a slide on it, we want the stage all the way down. And then we're going to look at these different objectives, and we'll look at these parts here in just a minute. But you also want this objective lens, which is the smallest one. It's called the scanning. We're going to go over that. You want the scanning chosen right there. It's the smallest one. So when I opened it up, when I uncovered it, you saw that the stage was all the way down, and it was on scanning. So that means our last student that used this actually did what I asked them to do. So when you start and when you finish, stage all the way down, the lens on the red stripe or the scanning. Now I'm ready to start, or I'm even ready to put it up. All right, we'll talk a little bit more about that. Cleaning, okay. So we talked about keeping it covered. These things can get quite dusty, and I'm sure, as you can imagine, we are looking through lenses, and these lenses need to be perfectly clear, and they can get dusty and dirty quite easily, so you're always needing to clean your microscope. It's just a good thing to do on a regular basis. And you want to use, there are fancy cleaning solutions, and that's all fine and dandy, and if you buy a cleaning solution, make sure it's for microscopes only. But really what is just as good, and obviously very least expensive, is you use white vinegar and water at a 10, you see on your paper there, at a 10-to-1 ratio of water and vinegar. Just tap water is fine. So you use a vinegar solution, 10 parts water, 1 part white vinegar for cleaning. And you also, when you clean it, your microscope, whether it's the stage or the lenses, you want to use lens paper. Okay, lens paper, never paper towels. Paper towels has too many fibers. These fibers get all over the lenses and it makes it dirty. So you always want to clean your microscope with lens paper. So if I was going to do this, this is actually concentrated, but I've got some unconcentrated somewhere. But I have my vinegar solution. I just soak it and I can just clean everything. I can clean the lenses. I can clean these lenses. Again, with our vinegar solution, 10-to-1 water vinegar solution. So that's the really nice, inexpensive, very, very good cleaning solution. All right, that is the end of section 1.